Alright, good morning ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, I'm Clay Douglas. My guest today is RickLight. He's with RAM. That's WRAM, that's Well-Regulated American Militias. Hello Rick, how are you? Whoop.
You can hear me, Mr. Douglas? It's really scrambled up bad.
Yeah, I can hear you, yes sir. I couldn't connect with you. For some reason, I couldn't connect with you on my other computer, so I'm having to use a backup computer here. But
oh boy,
it is recording and we can hear.
Are you running on Skype?
Yes sir, I am. Do you have a problem with Skype? Is that the hookup?
No, I can't run on Skype. I can only run on the telephone.
Okay. Is my signal broken up here for you? Can you hear me all right? Because we can hear you all right, fine here.
I can barely understand what you're saying. I'm getting about a word or two out of a sentence. That's about it.
All right, I will fix that in just a second here. Hold on with me, and let me reconnect a couple of things here. And okay. Let me hang up with you, and let's see if I can get this right. I will call you right back, Rick. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you a little better now.
Alright, if I can keep this microphone plugged in, keep talking to me here for a second. Alright, I should have you here. Are you talking?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. RickLight is my guest today with the Well-Regulated American Militias. How's it going? You're right on the border in Texas now.
Border, but yeah, we're pretty close to it.
And what's the situation?
Well, actually, in our of the citizen sheriff's department, things like that. We see that kind of stuff moving through the area. We're pretty good about getting all together and, well, taking care of business, and they know that, so they don't like to come through here too much.
And you are working with the sheriff there, are you not?
You betcha. We sure are. We're fixing to launch the first, what you would call legal militia, or what you would call legitimate militia, to serve the state of Texas 98 years. Actually got the judge, the county commissioners, and the sheriff and the deputies on board with the militia movement here.
That's wonderful. That's the way it should be. When I started the militia in New Mexico, I did it with the full cooperation of the governor, by the way, who I believe is still your best choice for president right now, Governor Gary Johnson of New Mexico. certainly backed the militia then. He would back it now, and he also wants to abolish the laws against victimless crimes and restore hemp to this country.
Well, yeah, I mean, we need somebody that's going to help the American citizenry embolden their freedom. I remind anybody, I don't believe that any particular political candidate save our nation. I believe that's something that the people are going to have to rise to the occasion to do. I guess that education and stuff is the best way to get a hold of people and make people realize that it isn't a certain ideology that will win our freedom, but it's the combination of getting everybody together that loves freedom in general and bring them together so we can help any kind of good politicians that we do get elected into any kind of offices, whether it be our local, our state, or even the federal arena. Well, we can help them. It's going to be a combination effort between the people and the political structure, people being able to put in a better political structure than what we have now.
What county are you in Texas?
I'm in Edwards County. It's a pretty good-sized county. However, bear in mind it's not heavily populated. The gist of our population here in this county is probably around 2,000, maybe 2,100. During the hunting seasons, of course, because of the way the land is laid out and there's a lot of hunting done here in Edwards County, well, we have a lot of hunters in at that particular time. Hunting season just started this last weekend. So during the hunting season, you could say that Edwards County probably has somewhere around 5,000 people in it or better. And that's what helps bolster the economy we have here is through the hunting season, things like that. We're a real rural county. That's why we all have to work together out here, is work together with the Border Patrol, Sheriff's Departments, things like that, because, well, folks, in these rural areas like Edwards County, that deputy just can't be everywhere. So it takes a combination of the citizens working with the sheriff and Border Patrol, people like that, try to keep our area safe.
It was like that in New Mexico. I lived 30 miles from the nearest town, and the sheriff would call me for help. You know, if there was somebody, if somebody was involved in a car accident, I was the first one on the scene generally. And when the ADL listed me in their armed and I'm sorry, what was it? False patriots, FBI. They sent to the FBI and tried to demonize me. Oh, guide to right-wing extremists. That was out of the FBI office in Phoenix. I called up the chief of police in New Mexico, the chief of the state police. He said, "Clay, you don't have to worry about nothing. I said, "Somebody's trying to get me killed here, Chief." And he said, "Don't worry about it. I've been reading your magazine for 10 years. You don't have nothing to worry about for me or any of my men." And besides
that's what we've been trying to tell folks. There seems to be this ideology rolling around out there that militias are, well, racist, we're anti-government, we're this, we're that, anything that's good. And we've been trying to reteach the whole militia concept to not only well, basically to everybody. We don't care what color your skin is. We don't care what your religious beliefs are. We don't care about your sexual orientation. We don't care about none of that. What we want to do is educate people out there to make them realize that, look, the militias it's a simple thing. It pretty well tells you what we do. We're to secure our free states. We're to make sure they remain free. And how do we do that? Well, we've been telling folks here in RickLight and stuff to build on 3 principles. And those principles being professionalism, safety, and then be a productive part of the security of your community. That means that you have to work with law enforcement. the militias aren't a anti-law enforcement entity. They're not anti-government. However, they believe in keeping the Constitution forefront. And, well, if there's a problem with that, if we see unconstitutional things going on, it's our duty to educate the public about it, and it's our duty to stand against that. Now, how do we stand against it? Well, as long as nobody's moving against our citizenry, trying to grab them up in gobs and heaps and load them up on trains to take them to FEMA camps, well, we try to stay within the boundaries of the law. We work through the law, what laws we have, whether we like them or not. We're stuck with them, folks. There's nothing you can do to, you know, change the fact of what things are right now, except through citizenry participation. And that's where citizens are supposed to participate, is through not only community structures politically, but also through a citizens militia, a productive citizens militia that takes in everybody. Like I said earlier, we don't care about your logistics of your choices in life. That's your business. That's the way freedom's supposed to roll. That's the way we're supposed to be. This isn't about any certain type of ideology out there. We don't see it any other way as it takes every American, every living, breathing American, to make sure that their freedom stays intact. It's their responsibility. And that's basically what the militias are all about, folks. It's real simple. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody out there. It's just who is willing to learn about it and then, of course, participate with it. But participate with it in a productive, professional, safe manner. And you build the militias in a manner to which, you know, Americans start to see through the cloud of misgivings about the militias. I'm notorious to reach out across the fence to many different people. I don't just stick with, I don't go hunting people that see it my way. As you know, Clay, I talk to about anybody. It's their beliefs, it's their choices. I honor that because I honor freedom in general. And that's what I believe is missing in America right now. As far as its citizens are concerned, it really needs to get back to the fundamentals of what freedom really is and learn to start honoring the fact that, well, we're not always going to make the same choices, folks. We're going to have different choices to make in life. And does that make us bad? Yeah. Does that make us bad? No, it don't. That makes us free.
Let me stop you for a second. I want to get your opinion on something, because when I started the militias and the Free American magazine at the same time, and I used the Free American to promote the militias, and that got me attacked by the ADL before I ever had any idea or concept about the control of the world by Jewish factions. We also call them banksters. 16 intelligence agencies just released a report that says Israel, the country of Israel, is, and the Israelis, the dual citizens there that spy on the United States and have been doing that for half a century or a little more, and a couple of hundred years, and they say that they are the biggest threat to U.S. security in the world. 16 U.S. intelligence agencies basically telling you that everything Clay's told you about the Rothschilds and the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law is accurate, is real, and we're being set up right now, in my opinion, in my belief, we're being set up right now, the Christians in America are being set up the same way the Christians in Russia was when the communists came in and arranged the execution of 60 million white Christian Russians. And I think this is what you are doing is the absolute, it's the only answer I could come up with when I saw the government attacking Americans. Wait a minute, who's standing, why are they letting them do this? Why aren't the other law enforcement agencies standing up? Go ahead, RickLight.
Well, yeah, here again, we have certain sects within our nation that for some reason or another want to embolden your slavery. They want to reach over the fence to communism, socialism, and they'll basically use any excuse they can to keep the American public driven that way. There was a movement back in the 60s called the Communist Movement, folks, and believe it or not, it's gotten a pretty good grip into Washington, D.C. and everything else. It will use religion against you. It will use fear in general against you. It sends out all kinds of different information across the computers, false information to keep your fear alive. It's like, well, we've bought billions of rounds of ammunition, folks. Feel, right? And if you know, you've seen people on the internet, they just yakking away about that stuff, and well, that's their way of trying to bully you around and trying to tell you, well, if you ain't going to see it our way, well, we've got all this ammunition we're buying. Well, don't fall for it, folks. Just don't fall for it. You have the right to believe the way you want to believe, as long as it's healthy and as long as it endorses freedom. That's what America is all about. It isn't about any certain one religion. It isn't about any certain one of anything. It's about the combination of everybody's will to be free, period. And guess what? Free people are happy people. They're not prone to war. They're not prone to demonizing other ideologies. I mean, unless they might be detrimental to freedom. Anything, I believe, detrimental to freedom goes against the very laws of God to begin with, as far as I'm concerned, because if I'm not mistaken, about any religion you can go into, it specifically states that, well, I created free will. In other words, folks, you have the ultimate choice to love God or hate God yourself. And I believe if God was that what you call grand, to stand in that position for freedom, that should say it all. That should say it all right there. Look, folks, this whole thing is about freedom in general. You're probably going to hear that word coming out of my mouth here in the next, I don't know, however long Clayton has me on today. You're going to hear that word freedom keep coming out of my mouth a lot.
That's because fine on this show.
That's what people got to relearn. That's what we got to relearn, Clay.
You know, this is...
got to learn to respect each other.
That's right. And work together.
This ADL, the Southern Law Poverty Center.
Yeah, Southern Poverty.
All these entities out there trying to tell you that the Patriot movement's bad. Well, why would they tell you a Patriot movement's bad? A freedom movement is bad? Why would they tell you that? That pretty well says it all right there if you just think of that alone. They'll fight your ability to think freely.
That's right.
But yet they claim they're about your rights. But yet on the same hand, if you stick up for your rights, they're going to label you into a right-wing terrorist, everything else. And folks, unfortunately, they have the Department of Homeland Security, well, in their back pocket. They're working together, see, to take down names of people that want to be free.
That was right from the start. You know, I put out a film, True Face of FEMA, which everybody still should see today. I filmed the first Homeland Security meeting, and they're talking about the enemy. The enemy, we're in for a long war. The enemy's weak. The enemy doesn't have planes. It doesn't have tanks. The enemy's weak, so they're going to use unconventional tactics. The enemy that Colonel John Brinkerhoff is talking about.
Hey, Clay, could you do me a favor a minute?
Yes, sir.
Just cover me for about 5 minutes. I'm going to be right back. I'm not going to hang the phone up. I got something I got to take care of real quick here.
No problem.
I apologize to our listeners, but I will be back here in just a short minute.
No problem. RickLight is who that we're talking about, and we're talking about the well-regulated American militias. I've got links up on my site to it. We also got links up there on the a few other sites that are relevant. You can and folks, you can go to my site, freeamerican.com, and really educate yourself. And speaking of education, We've got one presidential candidate up there that's talking about legalizing marijuana. And just a quick reminder, this is again is up on my website. The rest of the world grows hemp and profits from an amazing array of uses. What are the uses of industrial hemp? Clothing, nutritious, food, beverages, paper, building supplies, plastic, fuel, ropes. Hemp is even used in cleaning up soil contamination. And you can hear Roger Johnson, who was the agricultural commissioner of North Dakota to 2009, explained that the U.S. ought to be in this business, to say the least. He feels that it's almost criminal that the U.S. does not take advantage of this extremely profitable crop, which would benefit every farmer and every landowner and every rural property out there. Dr. Andrew Weil says if Americans ate more hemp, it would help correct the essential fatty acids, the imbalance of essential fatty acids. I think we'd see a reduction of inflammatory diseases, lowering heart risk, cancer risk. The omega-3s are necessary for proper brain function. There's so much potential for profit. We're missing all of it. There are 1,000 uses for hemp, and the time has come for the U.S. government to legalize the growing hemp so we may benefit economically from this truly amazing plant. And we've got Gary Johnson right there that'll tell you the same thing I'm telling you. Now, folks, they've tried to demonize me because I'm telling you that smoking hemp using cannabis will cure cancer, among other things. They don't want you to do that. They want to keep you drugged, but they don't want you. They want you doing their drugs with the 200,000% markup. And the government has already tried to trademark and patent some of the hemp varieties. That's on the basis for the pharmaceutical companies. Why should you pay a doctor to prescribe you a plant you can plant in your backyard? That's and if a man with a badge can walk up to you and say, "What's that I smell? You been smoking marijuana? Oh, you're going to go to jail. Congratulations. You have just come to the realization that we live in a police state." Are you back with me, Rick? Not yet. Let's see if we can do this here. Alright, okay. Let's see if we can get a... Rick, are you back with me yet? Let me know when you're back. Now, folks, this coming Friday, I believe, we'll be back at the Hills Cafe, the Truth Seekers meeting, the new location in Austin. And I'll be speaking at Brave New Books in Austin, Texas on Friday, October 19th. Now, let me see here. I think we ought to hear from my friend, where I started the militias, now running for president, Gary Johnson.
My name is Gary Johnson. There was a time when this was the most dangerous drug society had to deal with. Today it's harder for a kid to get a hold of this drug than it was in 1929. In 2012, alcohol-related crime is down and America is a safer place. Addicts are dealt with in rehab facilities, not prisons. Why then do we not apply this lesson to marijuana? 900,000 marijuana arrests a year at a cost of tens of billions of dollars, while overcrowding our prisons, tying up our legal system, and escalating drug-related crime and border violence. President Obama redoubled his efforts to prosecute its use, raiding medical marijuana facilities in increasing numbers. Wasn't this the same President Obama who just as famously smoked it? The fact is, marijuana users are no more criminal than our commander-in-chief. So what's up, Mr. President? It's okay for you to do it, but everybody else should be arrested and go to jail? The social, economic, and health costs associated with today's drug prohibition are too high. Obama isn't being smart about legalization. Ditto Romney. That leaves me as the last sane man standing on this issue. Let's remember the lesson our great-grandparents learned at such tremendous cost. Legalize it, tax it, regulate it, move forward. Be libertarian with me one time and we'll turn a national drug crisis into a workable solution. Live free.
Live free, Gary Johnson. All right.
Mr. Johnson, you know, people have the right to make choices in their lives. And the marijuana is a big issue. Number one, as long as it should be legal. I don't see nothing wrong with people being able to grow plants on their properties. If they want to smoke it themselves or what have you. It's also another avenue to bolster the economy in many different ways. Well, I understand hemp has a lot of uses, not only for personal use, but for other industrial uses. Clothes, all kinds of stuff, paper. I can just keep on going.
It does, and you know, but this is they have used this as a way, the same way they used alcohol. They wanted to make us into criminals. As Ayn Rand said appropriately, that the government has no control over honest citizens, so they have to make criminals out of us. And when they criminalized hemp, they stole the #1 cash crop from America. They stole it. They sent it to Russia, Red China. 10,000 products made out of hemp, and you can buy it in Red China, but you can't buy it here. There's something wrong with that, Rick.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with what we would call our political structure today. It's nothing like the founders envisioned us to be at this particular moment. They basically try to say, well, you're all free, but, well, we're going to limit you on your freedom as you go through life. I don't know how many victimless crimes we have out there where there's really no victim. And yet people are going to prison, they're losing their gun rights, it's an atrocity. It's far from being a just system anymore. We've got a lot of problems within not only our political structure, but within our judicial branch too. It seems to be all driven towards money these days, and they're just searching for ways to get into your back pocket, bend you over, pull your billfold out, and say, well, okay, I need this, 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 and this, and well, you go on your way. I can't think of anybody that can tell me that they're better off financially now at this particular time than what they was 4 years ago. So much for Mr. Barack Obama's promise to stabilize our economy and everything else. That's pretty well had. Now we're at the brink of what you call economic breakdown. That could bleed into a lot of other serious things too. Here again, making the need for militias even greater. I think some people seen this new movie coming out on TV called Revolution. And it basically dictates or shows a warlord as the leader of the militias. Folks, that's the furthest thing from the truth. It'll be the militia's job to hunt that warlord down. The militia's job is to protect the citizenry, its community, not to get on horses and to take men's into different town and tyrannize all the local folks for everything they said and got. I'm sure some of the people watched the movie Postman. Remember Mr. Bethlehem? I think they called him General Bethlehem in that movie. Folks, that's not what the militias are about. It's quite the opposite.
Well, that's what Hollywood does. That's what television does. This whole Jewish